India has grounded all 6 of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner aircraft operated by Air India. This after the US Federal Aviation Administration took the call to do so following a series of accidents. Boeing 787s were prompted by a second incident involving lithium-ion battery failure.
Basically, what they're saying is they'll check the system, all systems and all planes because of this battery problem. And I have directed the DGCA to ground all the Dreamliners here also. Now, how serious is the problem, how long it will take, we'll know only a couple of days. But there are about 50 Dreamliners in operation for more than a year, and they have flown more than 50,000 miles. So let's hope they can find a solution soon.
Right, Kashish has more on this. Kashish, a big smile there, but of course, serious revenue concerns that the airline industry, Air India, of course, in particular, would be having. This was perhaps inevitable, given the safety concerns very serious.
Well, of course, Natasha, I mean, an engine really, the possibility of any fire in any aircraft is a huge, huge concern. And this Dreamliner has actually been touted as one of the best aircraft to happen in a while because of its fuel efficiency, because of its composite, because of better passenger experience, which are all the reasons that Air India had been touting for, for the rest of the country and, of course, for the government mostly to try and infuse some equity to try and turn around the national carrier in a sense. But the big problem, like I've been talking about earlier, is that for the first time a lithium battery has actually been used in any aircraft. We were always using cadmium batteries. So this was, in a sense, an experimental thing. And what we saw in the FAA actually grounding the Dreamliner has come following the incidents that happened on the Japan aircraft. In the first incident, the battery caught fire. So once the passengers had deplaned, it actually took firefighters more than 40 minutes to put out the fire. So that's fairly huge, as you can imagine. In the second time, what we understand, the cockpit crew again smelled that the battery was overheating. And that, again, after these 2 incidents, Japan, of course, decided to ground their aircraft. The FAA has decided now they're going to do a check on whether this particular problem happened with just that particular battery patch that went to the Air Nippon Airways, or is this a permanent battery problem with the entire Dreamliner? So those are the things they're going to look into. The FAA is actually the body that gives us the airworthiness certificate, without which no aircraft can actually take to the skies. So if the FAA is saying that the aircraft has to be grounded, then that is a directive that India is likely to follow. And of course, Air India cannot afford any more bad publicity. They've had a pretty bad spell in the past. They were hoping the Dreamliner would turn their fortunes around. But at the moment, there are 4 domestic Dreamliners which have been grounded, 2 which are returning from Frankfurt and Paris, which will be grounded immediately upon return. And of course, the question really hangs now over the fate of the 2 aircraft which are supposed to be delivered before April. Will they come? Won't they come? We understand that a committee has been set up to look into the amount of compensation that Boeing will now have to pay for these losses that the airline will suffer. And of course, then they will have to take a call on whether they will order any more Dreamliners at all or not. The government at the moment is saying that, we're going to get compensated, etc. But they're not talking about the fact that at the time when this entire deal was given the go-ahead, how much money had been pumped into, and they may just land up with egg on their faces if the entire Dreamliner things goes south.
Right, they're perhaps doing all that number crunching as we speak. This was, of course, going to be part of Air India's big turnaround plan, but thanks very much for joining us with all of that.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app, fully optimized for Retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.